What if God is not asking you to see the whole road? What if he is simply just asking you to walk in the light he has already given you? Because today I realize a little something when it talks about faith. Sometimes I'm asking God to show me more while I'm still standing still in what he has already shown me. Hey guys, this is Sai, aka Incure the Love Guru, and welcome back to another installment of my 365-day devotional journey where I am simply just documenting what God is teaching me through his word each and every day in hopes that it encourages one of you, or maybe all of you, to embark upon your own personal walk and journey with Jesus Christ. And y'all, today my studies came from several different places, but I kept seeing the same message. Light, faith, and decision, and the decision to keep walking. So the way that I study the Bible is kind of sporadic. I do have things coming from all over the place. I that's my little agita that ticks in, but it works for me because I have a little bit of that Gideon disease where I'm, God, are you sure? Are you sure? And studying in multiple places of the Bible confirms itself. So it works very, very well for me. I will have some times to where God will have me in one particular place, but majority of the way that God has been teaching me so far is showing me himself, showing me what he has said in several different places with inside the word of God. So, like I was saying, same message, multiple different places, and that message is light, faith, and the decision to keep constantly walking and moving forward. One of my readings today says something that stopped me. If we want light, we have to come to the light. So Ellen White used this picture in the study that I was looking at today. She used this picture that made so much sense to me. She said that if faith becomes weak, it's like a sickly plant. It needs to be placed in the sunshine, watered, and carefully tended to. And suddenly I realized maybe, just maybe, some of the dark places in my life aren't places where God has stopped providing light. Maybe I have stopped walking towards the light. Because God gives us light for a reason, not just so that we can admire it, so that we can learn to walk in it. And that is where faith comes in. So I took a little trip over to Luke chapter 17, verse 5. Luke 17:5 says, the apostles asked Jesus, increase our faith. And I think sometimes when I pray for increased faith, I'm expecting God to make me feel more confident. But today's reading challenged that. It essentially said, don't make your feelings the evidence of whether God heard you or not. I'm going to say that again. Do not make your feelings the evidence of whether God heard you or not. That hit me like a ton of bricks because I can pray and still feel afraid. I can trust God and still have a whole ton of questions. I can believe in his promises and still have moments when I don't understand exactly what it is that he is doing in my life. That's a very real thing. Faith doesn't mean that darkness never surrounds me, because it does. Faith means that darkness doesn't get to determine which direction I decide to walk in. That's what faith does. Even though I am surrounded by it, I can still choose to walk in the direction of God. I can still choose to lean on him to tell me where to step and where not to step. That's what faith does. Faith gives me that ability to still do that. Hebrews 11 and verse 1, one of my favorites, says that faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So sometimes faith literally means I can't see it. But I'm still walking nonetheless. I can't see a thing, Lord, but I am still going to walk towards your voice. I am still going to lean towards your will and trust your plan. And then I tackled over into Galatians chapter 2, and that changed the perspective a little bit, because in Galatians chapter 2 verse 20 it says, I am crucified with Christ, nevertheless I live, yet not I, but Christ that liveth inside of me. So this isn't simply about becoming strong enough to walk through darkness, because that will never happen. It is Christ living in me that allows me to be able to sustain or to walk or to be able to push through. Paul continues in Galatians, and he says, the life which I live in the flesh, I live by the faith of the Son of God. And there it was again, that beautiful word, faith. I am not walking because I know what's around every single corner, because I don't know. I'm not God. God's the only one that knows that. I'm walking because what I do know is that I'm walking with the one that knows that. I'm walking with him. So the next part of my lesson took me over to Psalms 46:1, and I love a good Psalms. A good Psalms will just, it's like putting a whipped cream on the top of your lesson. So a good Psalms will always lift you up. It reminded me that he is my refuge and strength, a very present help in the time of trouble. Luke 1:37 reminds us and reminds me that with God, nothing is impossible. And back again in my favorite book, Psalms 115:3 reminds me that God is still on his throne and can't nobody take him off of it. He is still on his throne. So even when I do not understand what he is doing, he is still God. He is still sovereign. He is still on his throne, and he still reigns supreme. He is still loving. He is still kind. He is still merciful. And he is still pursuing and has his hand out for you and me. Even when I don't see the answer, he's still present. Even when my feelings tell me that nothing is changing, this is the same thing over and over again. Oh my goodness. His promises haven't changed. He is the Lord. He changes not. And he has something that he wants to give to you. He has an expected end for you, and he will complete that work in you. That is his promise. His promises haven't changed towards you, even when you cannot see it. So when we go over to Romans chapter 8 and verse 32, that reminded me that the God who didn't withhold his only son, his own son, y'all, has already demonstrated just how deeply he loves me, just how far he's willing to go to show me that he loves me. That tells you everything you need to go. Romans chapter 8 verse 32 gives you that understanding. That's when the image of cultivating faith became even more powerful, because you cannot just put a plant inside of darkness, deprive it of what it needs, and then become magically frustrated because it isn't growing. And spiritually, I cannot consistently expose myself to fear, feed myself doubt, rehearse all the worst case scenarios, live according to what I feel, not what the word says, but what I feel, and then magically wonder, God, why isn't my faith growing? Faith needs to be cultivated. So I bring it into the light. I water it with the word. I nourish it through prayer. I remember what God has already done for me in my life. And even I can look at the lives of those that have been around me, family members, church members, friends, co-workers. God is showing us constantly what he is capable of and what he will do for you. And then this is very, very important. I walk according to the light that he has already given me, because he has already given you a measurement of light. Because maybe increased faith doesn't always come from receiving another revelation. Sometimes increased faith comes from obeying the revelation that you already have received. So, I think what God is trying to show me throughout my entire study today is simple. Walk in the light. When God shows me the truth, walk in it. When God gives me wisdom, use it. When God gives me gifts, steward them well. When God shows me how to love people that way, the way that he's showing me, not the way that I think, not the way that they ask for, but the way that he's showing me. When God makes me a promise, believe him. When God answers my prayers differently than what my emotions expected, trust his character anyway. His ways are not our ways. His thoughts are not our thoughts. He wants what's best for you. And when I cannot see what happens next, walk any way forward. Keep walking towards the light. Because God doesn't necessarily need to illuminate the entire road for me to take the next step. We need to take that next step in faith. So I am changing the question that I am asking God today. Instead of only asking God, show me more, I am asking God, am I walking in the light you have already given me? Because I don't want to sit in a dark room complaining that I can't see when God has already opened the door and invited me into the light. But I can't see God. Ask him, God, am I walking in the light that you have already given me? Allow him to redirect you. My faith grows when I come inside of his presence. My faith grows when I trust his promises above my feelings. My faith grows when I obey what he has already revealed to me. And my faith grows every time that I take another step towards him. Even when I cannot see what comes after step one. So yes, Lord, increase my faith, but also, Lord, give me the courage to walk in the light that I already have. All right, y'all. I love you. I'm Cherie, and this is Starting at 40, a 365-day walk through the Bible. Remember this one simple thing. I love you so much, the love of Jesus Christ, and I am praying fervently for you. I pray to see each and every last one of you tomorrow, Lord willing, to share what God is teaching me next. Bye, friends.